Eject. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. This is Debbie Dooms, back again for another Paralegal Reacts. So today I watched Kendall Rae's video she uploaded called Hoax, Kidnapping, or Real Abduction, the case of Sherri Papini. And I had some strong reactions, and so I wanted to make this video. I'm going to link Kendall Rae's video down below. I recommend you watch it so you can get a thorough understanding of this case and the video that I'm making. And be sure to go follow her. I love her true crime videos, and honestly, she's a big inspiration for my channel. But yeah, that being said, let's get into it. So Sherri Papini was married with 2 children. They all lived together in Redding, California. She loved being a mom, and they were a pretty private family. They kept off of social media for the most part. On November 2nd, 2016, Sherri Papini went out for a jog and never returned home. When her husband came home to find that she and the kids were not there, he became a bit concerned and pinged her phone and found it on the ground with her headphones wrapped in hair quite some space away from their home. Sherri was nowhere to be found. Her husband became frantic and made so many pleas to return her to the media. He was extremely upset. I could sense the desperation in his pleas, and it was quite emotional for me to watch. Everyone was searching high and low for her. They had search parties, and this even got international media attention. There was an anonymous rich benefactor who learned of the case and was so moved by it, he donated $50,000 as a reward for Sherri's safe return. After receiving no leads, the reward became up to $100,000. Shortly after, on Thanksgiving morning, a motorist spotted Papini, who was emaciated and weighed only 87 pounds, frantically waving on the side of a rural Yolo County, California road about 150 miles south of her home. Papini was bound at the waist by a chain, which was tethered to her left wrist with a zip tie. Hose clamps were fixed to her ankles in what the Shasta County, California Sheriff's Office later described as pain compliance restraints. Papini said she was abducted at gunpoint and held captive by 2 armed Hispanic females who spoke Spanish the majority of the time. Keith Papini said his wife was covered in bruises ranging from yellow to black, old to new, because of alleged repeated beatings. The bridge of her nose was broken and her long blonde hair was chopped off. Police were unable to determine what led to Papini's abduction, where she was taken for those 22 days, and why she was kidnapped and released without an explanation. Her case is yet unsolved to this day, and the reward has yet to be claimed. So now what caused me to have such a strong opinion on this case was not so much the case itself, but the reactions of the public, the general public. A lot of the public started saying that because they couldn't find the parties responsible, that this was all a hoax, that Sherri was making this all up, it was all a lie. And I think that really speaks to how prolific our society has become at victim blaming. What would be the motive for them to make this up? Nobody obtained the reward, so it's not like they hired some third party, so without knowing this guy would offer the reward so that they could claim it. No one has claimed the reward. So financial motivation is a non-factor. Of course, that's always the first thing that people go to, but no. And they were extremely private before this happened, and now Sherri doesn't even leave the house, so media attention wasn't the motivating factor. They're not those kinds of people. There's nothing for them to gain by doing this. Sherri was found emaciated, bruised all over her body, and with bruises of all different shades and sizes, beaten over and over. Her nose broken, her long, beautiful blonde hair chopped off, and she was branded on her right shoulder, permanently disfigured. So why would she do this to herself? Like, how could she have done this to herself? and she was in love with being a mom. She would never have taken herself away from her boys for that long. One of the reasons people were saying that this was a hoax is because Sherri didn't remember what happened to her. It's common after trauma to not remember. It's how your brain processes trauma in order to help you cope. Your brain can literally disassociate from reality as the trauma is occurring. Or perhaps she's scared for her life and knows if she tells the police who her attackers were, they will come back for her and hurt her or her family. And to the people that are accusing this of being a hoax, I have no words, and I pray that this never happens to you or your family or someone that you care about, and I ask that you please have compassion. I have read somewhere that people victim blame because they can't handle the idea of something like that being possible, because then their bubble of safety would be crushed. But things like this are possible, and they do happen all the time. So please, let this teach you to be more careful, but don't cause someone more trauma by calling them a liar when you can see the physical representation of their abuse. The hurt in her husband's eyes and the pain in his voice was 100% real. And it's really sad that when someone goes missing, everyone is out there on the street searching, but once that person is found, it's called a hoax. Because how could that have happened? People don't survive. People never make it. It's a hoax. What happened to Sherri was nothing short of a tragedy, but her making it home is a miracle. Not everyone is so lucky. Instead of being celebrated as a success story, she's in hiding from everyone calling her a liar and further causing her trauma. She's literally afraid to leave her house, and it's adding insult to injury. The reason why that this happened to her is a completely different story. To me personally, it sounds like human trafficking. Of course, there is no proof to back that up, but that is where my mind immediately went to. Sherri was a beautiful young woman, and it's very possible. She was jogging in the middle of nowhere, nobody around to see it happen, and she was wearing headphones, so she wouldn't have been able to hear them approaching or driving up to her. So it is plausible. Unfortunately, human trafficking is a real thing. The trauma she endured will never go away, and what's even sadder to me is that as she's trying to heal from this, she is being accused of lying or making it up, and with nothing to gain from it, but everything to lose. I really hope as a society, rather than making knee-jerk reactions, we can learn to think critically and evaluate situations either before believing or disbelieving someone. We need to weigh the facts before we come to a conclusion. We need to think critically. In my opinion, Sherri Papini absolutely was a victim of kidnapping. And when it comes to human trafficking, it actually really does go high up. Look at Jeffrey Epstein case. It can involve judges, police officers, presidents, or even royalty. But when we think if someone is fabricating something, first and foremost, we need to think about motive. What do they stand to gain from creating a hoax? If the answer is nothing, then there is your answer. Nobody would take the time to concoct and carry out an elaborate hoax unless there was something for them to get out of it, because the risk would not make it worth it. Because if found out, there would likely be jail time and prosecution, and not to mention media scrutiny, people hating you. So if there's nothing for someone to gain, or nothing that they have gained, it stands to reason that they wouldn't waste their time concocting a hoax. And it's so sad to me that people like Sherri aren't believed, but people like Amber Heard are. But that's a whole other story. Please comment down below your thoughts on this case. Have you heard of this case before? What are your thoughts on it? Have your thoughts changed on this? Please let me know. Let's discuss in a constructive manner. But anyways, thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you all in the next one. And please don't forget to like and subscribe Kendall Rae's video, since I'm reacting to her video. So full disclosure, and I'm linking that below if you haven't seen it already. So thank you to Kendall Rae. Yeah, catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for coming by. See you.